What I was asking specifically was, well, first of all, how much time would someone normally take to transfer this data from one place to another without the Infosistema DMM?
Okay, that's a nice question. Of course, it depends. It depends on the amount of data you are moving around. It depends on the complexity of the data. Let's say you only have one table with some simple columns, like a person table, where you store information about persons you relate with. So you can have the name, the first name, the last name, the email address, and the age, or date of birth, to be more correct. If you do it manually, what you do is you ask some developer to connect to one database and then to make a script, and meaning to write some code that inserts in the destination database the information from this source database. When we're talking about one table, it will be pretty easy. A common developer can do it in 1 hour, a couple of hours with tests, okay, and execute it all together, okay. Now, this is not when you have an application, even one menu with OutSystems, you don't have one table. What you usually have is a model or several tables that relate to themselves. You can have the person, but then you can add the column nationality, and now you also have a foreign key, meaning a connection between that table person to another table where you store the countries, for instance. And you give an ID. Portugal can be 1, Spain 2, France 3, and so on. And then when you go to the person table, you add in your column, you don't write Portugal, Spain, and whatever. You write the ID of that other table, okay? And this can go as complex as you want. You can have, this person can have a role in your organization, and then it can be a manager. And so you add another column that is managed by, that is a foreign key to itself. So you have a circular dependency, okay? And we are just talking with 2 tables, and common application can have from 15 to 12 for a small application to hundreds of tables, okay? So if you go back and you ask the same developer to move data from one small application with 10 tables between 2 databases, it will not take 10 times the amount of time it takes to move one data, okay? Because when these constraints and these keys and these relations start to appear, then you have dependencies, and then you need to know that you need to move first the country's table, because you cannot move a person that is, for instance, in Portugal. You cannot move that information from the source to destination if you don't have already there the country information, okay? So this can become very complex, and when you get into the circular dependencies, you see you cannot move even from the same table. The rows must be sorted in a way that you don't move a person line that has a reference for another person line. You cannot move this one before you move the other one. Meaning, let's say you have a manager named John and you are Anna, and so Anna will have a pointer to John. So when you want to move the data, you need to make sure that John is moved first, because he is the manager, so that when we move Anna, you already have the connection to be made in the destination, or else you will have an error, okay?
Okay.
So with my experience tells me that the applications, after they are deployed and they start very simple, they don't get simpler, they just get complexer. So they just grow in terms of tables, in terms of relations, in terms of dependencies. And this also means that if you rely on a developer to build scripts to make your data migration work, what will happen in the end of the day is that as your applications grow complexer, this guy will have a full-time job just to maintain those scripts. So it can be very costly and very non-productive to invest in this guy just to maintain your data migration scripts.